Hello. Big Scary back here again with another great show. Remember to smash the like button and the subscribe button. And yeah, I'm back here gonna bring you some post-fight breakdowns of Fight Night. What was it? Fight Night Cater Ige and Fight Night Figueiredo Benavides. And we'll even so there's a fight today at what is it? Till versus Robert Whitaker. Without further ado, let's get into our first fight. The first fight of the main event of the main card on Cater Ige was Abdul Razak Al Hassan versus Munir Lazzez. And Lazzez, I think he was recommended by I'd seen a story he was recommended by some 17-year-old kid that Dana White knows or something. But, I mean, he looked good because Al Hassan came out throwing bombs. I mean, a lot of them were just landing on the arms and the shoulders, but, I mean, he was throwing bombs. They would have gotten out most other people. And Lazzez stayed calm in there, stayed collected, and just kept throwing back. He was good. He was good. I look forward to seeing a lot more from him. He won a nice unanimous decision, and I mean Al Hassan's tough, and Lazzez, I mean, one in the stand up, one on the ground. It was just an all over good showing for Lazzez. So look forward to seeing more from him. Our next fight of the evening was Molly McCann against Tyler Santos. And Tyler Santos just from the beginning bell to the end of the fight was just piecing up Molly McCann. Winning, I mean, yeah, she had 5 takedowns. I mean, just dominated every facet of the fight. So that was a nice win for Tyler Santos. That was at women's flyweight. Our next fight of the evening was Jimmy Rivera against Cody Steman. And this fight was at featherweight. Even both of these guys are bantamweights, but with everything that's been going on lately, a lot of short notice fights. These cards are on Fight Island, Liaz Island in Abu Dhabi. This was at featherweight, and it was a nice back and forth affair. This was, I think, Steman's second fight since his brother had passed. And I mean, he looked good, but Rivera was just one step ahead. And, Rivera pulled out the nice decision win. Our next fight of the evening was Tim Elliott versus Ryan Benoit. And, it was a nice back and forth affair. Benoit actually looked pretty good for a lot of the fight. But Tim Elliott, he's got a hard style to deal with, unless the top guys are really usually the only guys that beat him. Tim Elliott, he's just herky-jerky, but he's effective. He lands on the feet. He's good on the ground. All over good win for Tim Elliott. And our main event of the evening was Kelvin Kattar against Dan Ige. And it kind of went how I thought it would. Kelvin Kattar was just a little better, just has more crisp stand-up. Ige went for 9 takedowns and wasn't effective and didn't pull off any of them. Cater's got some of the best boxing definitely in the featherweight division. But I mean, almost in all of the UFC, it's very crisp, nice straight punches. Yeah, he's good. I look forward to seeing the evolution to his game. All right, and our next event was Fight Night Figueiredo against Benavides. Our first fight of the evening was on the main card was at flyweight, Alexandra Pantoja against Askar Askarov. And Askarov was able to just implement his game, and I mean, he was always putting the pressure on, landing takedowns. Actually didn't land that. He only was 2 for 15, but he was just able, once he got those takedowns, he was able to control, and it's just, he was able to pull out a nice decision win. Our next fight of the evening was Ariana Lipski against Luanna Carolina. And Lipski looked decent, was looking pretty good in the striking, and then when the fight went to the ground, started working for the knee bar, and when she was able to get it, It was nasty. It definitely looked like it hurt. So it was a nice win for Ariana Lipski. Our next fight of the evening was Djakasi against Rafael Fazeeb at lightweight. And Djakasi is pretty good, and he was coming out looking nice. But Fazeeb, apparently he's one of the coaches of I know it's in Thailand. I can't remember if it's Team Phuket or yeah, I'm not sure which team it is. But he's a coach of Muay Thai in Thailand. So, I mean, you figure he's going to be pretty good, and he was. He had some crisp, nice Muay Thai, landed some really nice shots on Djakasi, and Djakasi's good. So it was a nice win for Fazeeb. I look forward to seeing where his game goes. I mean, yeah, Djakasi, I mean, even though Djakasi's not necessarily a grappler, he was unable to land any takedowns, so it was nice. I'd like to see where Fazeeb goes from here. Our next fight of the evening in our co-main event was at middleweight Jack Hermansen against Kelvin Gastelum. And Jack Hermansen, or actually Gastelum took the fight down, and Jack Hermansen goes for a heel hook, and Gastelum, like, he didn't defend fast enough. I think he just thought, I mean, Hermansen isn't necessarily known as like some slick heel leg lock specialist, so I think he thought he could play with him for a little while, and then, Hermansen pulled it off. So a nice win for Jack Hermansen. Should have a nice step up in competition, or should be a good fight for his next fight. So then that takes us to our main event of the evening for the flyweight title. The first time this was a rematch. The first time these two had fought, Figueiredo had missed weight. So Benavidez had the ability to win the title, but Figueiredo didn't. And Figueiredo came out and blasted Benavidez and knocked him out. And but he wasn't able to win the fight or win the title. So then the rematch was this, and it kind of went the same way. It was crazy. Like, every shot he was landing was dropping Benavidez. And I mean, Benavidez is pound for pound one of the best fighters in UFC history. I mean, he hasn't won a title, so he's never gotten the credit. But I mean, pound for pound, he's one of the best contenders that has been at any weight class in UFC history. So I mean, Mighty Mouse had stopped Benavidez, but the fight didn't go the way it didn't go the way this did. Figueiredo just completely dominated him, beat him down, then got the fight to the ground and got him a rear naked choke. So, and Henry Cejudo came out and started talking junk afterwards, but I don't know. I'd be curious to see Figueiredo against Cejudo at flyweight. Figueiredo's nothing to play with. I mean, I don't know. I'd be curious to see what he can do against Mighty Mouse. I mean, to me, Mighty Mouse is the end all be all at flyweight, and Figueiredo looked good. So definitely curious to see where he goes in his career. And that brings us to the main to the card tonight, fight night. Whitaker against Till. This will be Whitaker's first fight since losing the belt to Israel Adesanya, and kind of got dominated a little bit against Adesanya, but Whitaker, I can't ever count Whitaker out. I mean, he's always tough. Those fights against Yoel Romero, I mean, were wars. I mean, I got all the respect for Robert Whitaker. And Darren Till, he has shown flashes of greatness. He's shown flashes of greatness, but he's also shown flashes of the ability to wilt under pressure. So, I don't know. Until he shows me different, I got to go with Whitaker for this fight, because Whitaker's just shown that he's able to step up under in the heat of battle, and so I just kind of got to go with him. And got to cover this in other combat sports news. Mike Tyson against Roy Jones. Now, okay, all the disclaimers out of the way. Mike Tyson's 53. Roy Jones is 51. Mike Tyson hasn't had a fight in 15 years. Roy Jones hasn't had a fight in 2 years, and he was fighting bums for a while. But in saying that, I'll also say this is possibly the biggest fight, I mean, in my lifetime. I mean, just because everyone knows them. Everyone, I mean, growing up, this was the fight I always dreamed of as a kid. I mean, this is, I loved Mike Tyson. When on my 12th birthday party, when my mom didn't get the pay-per-view, but when they flashed on SportsCenter that Mike Tyson had lost to Buster Douglas, that he was knocked out in the 10th round, that was my 12th birthday party. That I cried. I loved Mike Tyson. So this, and I loved Roy Jones. This is such a huge fight. I mean, granted, I mean, yes, they're old, but they're both old. And there has been no good boxing going on. I mean, they were talking about Triple G against Canelo, and it would have been the same weekend. So this fight pushed that fight to the side. I mean, so this is, I mean, there's no telling how big this fight can be. Everyone knows him. Everyone loves him. I mean, I don't know that everyone loves Mike Tyson, but he's rehabilitated his reputation, I feel like. Really, I don't know. I mean, I always loved him. He's definitely, yes, he's done some horrible things and been accused of doing other horrible things. But, I mean, feel like we live in a society that believes in redemption. And he's one of the best redemption stories. He's talking about giving away all his money to charity. Roy Jones is talking about that this will be the most he's ever made for a fight. Talking about close to $10 million. This will be, he said he'd make more at 51 than he ever made at 31. So I love this fight. I'm definitely going to be talking more about this in the weeks. And I mean, what are we, like a month and a half away? I think it's September 11th or 12th, something like that. So yeah, we're a month and a half away, and I'm excited. We'll probably even bring in, we might actually bring some guests in to talk about this fight. This is just a great fight. Mike Tyson has been looking amazing. This is when Mike started looking good in or not even sparring on the mitts, and started saying he was wanting a fight. I kept thinking about this fight because, I mean, clearly in my head, this is the fantasy fight I'd always want to see, but also just because I knew that Roy always wants to fight. And Mike, I mean, this would be the type of, I didn't want him to fight somebody active. I wanted him to fight someone else who kind of was on the older side. So I'm excited for this fight. I'm excited for everything about this fight. So we'll definitely talk more about this, and we'll even be talking more about the NBA is about to get started again any day now. Baseball is about to get started any day now. NHL is about to get started any day now. So yeah, there's just gonna be a lot of sports going on, and I'm gonna be covering it all. So make sure you can find me on YouTube at Trauma Television, because there's a Trauma Television production, on Facebook at Trauma Television, on Twitter at Big Scary, and on Facebook at Big Scary. And as Martin Luther King said, the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends toward justice.